You are listening to the Earplug Podcast Network.
James Harden wouldn't go to the game wearing outdated fashion, so why would he choose an outdated sports drink?
I wouldn't.
He wouldn't. This is Body Armor. More natural, more electrolytes, better sports drink. Thanks, Gatorade. We'll take it from here.
Get some man! What the Rock is cooking!
Welcome, everybody, to tonight's with DW Sports Edition. Sorry we weren't here last week. Tom had some power issues because of the storm.
Yeah, all Long Island. All Long Island had power issues.
We had power issues, but not that bad.
Yeah, not that bad. Let's see if we can turn you up, Hank. We'll figure you out. Hank's having technical... Listen, this week, we're still having problems. Hank's having some technical difficulties, so he's on his phone tonight. But we did talk a little bit... last week, obviously, the XFL, the Rock bought the XFL, so that was huge news. We did not get to talk about that on tonight on the Sports Edition, but Hank and I got to talk about it a little bit the next morning because the Shadow was also having problems trying to get back home from Indiana because he had a storm issue too, so he ended up having extra vacation time. But I wanted to bring it back up tonight to just with the three of us. What do you think, Tom? How do you think this is going to play out for the XFL with $15 million, three major owners?
I think it's hilarious that it goes from the hands of Vince McMahon to the hands of The Rock. So like wrestling is forever going to be tied to the XFL. But no, I think it's cool. You know, that we're going to have like, it's not going anywhere. Cause I mean, up until COVID, I mean, like it wasn't doing amazing. Like it wasn't doing like, you know, even college football numbers, but like it wasn't bad. Like people did watch it, you know, so it's cool. Like I'm glad that it's just not just going away like the AAF did. Like the AAF 2 years ago or like last year, they folded and that was it. Boom, gone. Like somebody's actually at least trying to keep the XFL afloat. So I'm all here for it.
And I think they did better this time around. The 2.0 did the first time around. I thought,
oh yeah, totally.
They did much better. I was actually watching it a lot more this time than I was the last time.
Well, it's because like you just wanted to see like, okay, so is this going to be like real football or is it going to be the train wreck that it was the first time around? And, you know, right. Like for the most part, it was real football. I mean, like, yes, the competition and the actual like game wasn't as good as the NFL or in some cases isn't even as good as college. But I mean, like it was still like if you enjoy football, like it was still something rather than nothing, you know?
So we talked and this kind of lead into one of today's topics. They were mentioning too, saying that, you know, it could help with the XFL trying to do a spring launch, which is almost impossible at this point, considering 1,000 employees have been let go from that organization, except for the high ups, to start a season. But it could help, and Hank and I did mention this on the last week on the Today with DW show, that, you know, this could possibly jumpstart maybe a college career. College football, instead of going in the NFL, they could go into the XFL, going in for a year contract or whatever to jump them in. Now, a couple players have done that through the XFL, going into the NFL. Now, with college football season, bye-bye between Pac-12, Midwest, and the Big Ten, right? The Big Ten went out too, right?
Yes.
Big Ten and Pac-12.
Midwestern just canceled too.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're gonna see a bunch of those. I think they're gonna follow suit. But now they're saying that, you know, their scholarships are going to be held over for the year. They're all going to be able to do all that kind of stuff. But now that they do decide, what do you think? Do you think the chances are some of the college kids are going to be like, you know what, I could try to get into the XFL for a while and then see what happens?
I don't know, because it's like the NBA is trying to do that with the D League. Like they're giving players an option to go like right from high school to the D League or the G League or whatever it is. I don't know. There's some league that lets them be a feeder system in the NBA rather than going to college to like eliminate that one and done thing. I don't know if the NFL will be the same. Like I don't know if it'll be the same where guys will say, all right, well, I'm not going to go to college. I'll go play in the XFL for a year and go to the NFL. Like, I don't know if there's enough money in the XFL for them to want to do that, you know?
Right.
I don't see any of the right now with the Pac-12 they're postponing everything for the spring to see if they can do it. So I don't, that's the question. Everybody is trying to figure out what they're going to do. I don't think that somebody that has the potential of being a top draft pick is going to take that risk of going to play in the XFL.
Yeah.
To go and wait for the draft. I mean, that's the whole thing right now that they're talking about is, do they delay, my thoughts are, they've got to delay the NFL draft if they're going to even think about doing it. They got to have a contingency plan, basically.
Yeah. And
it takes different groups, organizations, NFL, NCAA, everybody to work together to come up with that contingency plan.
Yeah. Well, it ultimately also comes down to the fact that who's going to I know their biggest problem, at least is what I've been reading up on and hearing from, is liability wise. The reason all of these these schools are just closing up shop when it comes to sports is who's liable if anything happens to these players or anything, because they're not pro athletes. They're not, they're college kids. They're amateur athletes. So who winds up taking the brunt of this, assuming everybody gets sick and
they all want to play. They
yeah,
all,
totally.
That's the that's their whole thing is that hashtag they want to play. I mean, they want to play the game, but the risk of it is, who does it fall on? Does it fall onto the college? Does it fall on the kid?
Yeah.
And, they're not, no parent, if they're concerned about it, is going to sit there and say it. And that's why, you got to have the calmer heads prevail to kind of let them know this is what we're doing. That's why they postponed it. I mean, you've got the SEC, you've got
well, the SEC, they said the SEC hasn't canceled yet. That they might be the one outlier that might still try and play in the fall.
Right.
Well, so
yeah, and that's the thing. It's you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. So,
but it was interesting because I know one of the articles that I had linked where it was talking about how Trevor Lawrence put out that post, where, let's see if I could have it right here, where it was literally, it said the ACC, Big Ten, Pac-12, SEC. They all said hashtag we're united, hashtag we want to play. It said we want to play football this season. They want to have established mandated health and safety procedures and protocols, get players the opportunity to opt out. They want all the stuff that all the major sports are having. And I don't really see that being possible.
The major problem with that is they can't operate in a bubble situation. Athletic programs are part of, broader campus and communities such. So not having that, being able to do that bubble is huge. So obviously they're taking note of seeing what the hell happened with the MLB. And
now I was listening to, I don't mean to cut you off, but I was listening to something I agree that I still think it's I don't think you're ever going to have an NCAA season where somebody doesn't get sick or somebody doesn't wind up coming down with COVID. But don't you think that especially on a college campus scene, that technically they might have a better chance of not spreading it or contracting it less than an NFL player? Because if I'm an NFL player, I go to my practice, I get to go home and do whatever I want, go out into the whole world. College campuses, for the most part, you can pretty much lock these players down in their dorms in their college campuses. It's kind of like a confined bubble in itself.
Right.
But you got kids that are going to be going home and, what I mean, with family and things like that.
Yeah.
And then
you're right.
Have classes, if they have classes together, then they can do it. That's why they're saying it's very difficult for them to do the bubble program with, some of the colleges are doing them right now.
Yeah.
The SEC, they were talking about it today, that the SEC, some of the teams have already gone in and done the bubble situation where they got all the players together and stuff like that. But if one of them goes home or their roommate they go to their roommate or something like that, it's very tricky to do that at that level.
Yeah.
I have to agree. Hey, Lee. Hey, Mel, what's going on?
But now, Doesn't the NFL or doesn't football kind of come with risk anyway? If you really think about it, like ultimately, I get it that you don't want to spread the disease and all that stuff, but like you step onto a football field, no matter what, you may not come off that football field the same. So like, again, I'm not advocating that we should just be playing sports for the sake of playing sports. Like, yeah, I'm all for like keeping everybody safe from COVID and stuff like that. But like when it comes to playing sports, coming down to it, don't you think that like at least football wise, like COVID in reality may be the least of their concerns when it could be like, I could get onto this field and be paralyzed at any minute, or I could be killed.
You take that risk every time you step on the field. There's something, but the thing is that you are aware of the things that could happen if you do something. So if you lead with your head, the repercussions could be you have a neck injury and you get paralyzed, or that's why they teach it. That's why in high school level, Pop Warner and everything, the first couple of weeks are just technique. Tackling techniques and blocking techniques and things like that, so that you don't risk yourself to that injury to be paralyzed or have a broken bone or something like that. You're going to have that stuff, but with COVID, it's the unknown. It's like taking that leap of faith off of a cliff and saying, is there going to be somebody there to catch me or not? They don't know. There's just too many unknowns that are involved with the COVID and the game, because it is a close contact sport.
True. Well, you see, and ultimately, I think it just winds up being tough, especially when you're talking about the college kids, because again, it's liability. Like, I think we could have this conversation, especially for like the NFL. Like the NFL, that's why I don't think that they should just not play. Like they should still play and try to figure out how to make this work. But like, as far as college, all these kids are 18, 19 in their early 20s. Like they're still kids, like you can't.
Like Donaldson that plays for the Rams. He came out and he said, I'm not wearing a mask. And he said, I'm not going to wear a mask because I'm still grabbing a hold of somebody.
Yeah.
I'm still tackling people. I'm still chasing them down and touching them, or people are grabbing me. So the mask, it's not going to, everybody wants to think that the mask is the safe issue in the game. It's not going to be the safe issue because it's a close contact. You're physically grabbing somebody, and, the transmission of stuff is going to be there. Yeah, they can, if they get it on there, they still have to, if they got the virus somewhere on their body and then they touch that part of their body and then they wipe their face, it gets into their, it's an airborne virus from my understanding. I mean, I've been looking
through sweat droplets and airborne as well. The thing that really got, as I was doing some of the research on this, the thing that really got going with the Pac-12 and whatnot isn't just necessarily COVID, but it's the after effects of COVID. Now, right now, there's myocarditis, which is an inflammation of the heart, and it doesn't pump well. And now there's been players that have already had this, and that was the deciding factor of not only just COVID, but the fact of the after effects of this becoming a major part for their players and getting this. It's weird. I didn't even know about this until we were doing some of the research on this, and then listening to and hearing about Pac-12 being canceled just a few hours ago. That's huge. And now look at that as far as NFL players. Their hearts are already pumping like crazy as it is. I mean, that's something serious that we have to consider after the fact.
I can speak on that because I have a heart condition, which a lot of people know I have. So mine is, I have the thickening of the heart wall to the inside, on the inside of my heart. So the volume doesn't pump as much. So that's very similar to what they're getting. And they think that I had gotten a cold or a flu. I was sick way back, 20 years ago. And that stopped me from basically playing at the age of 33 anymore because I couldn't do the same things. I still can't. I mean, I go out and, you don't have the blood flow to the extremities of your body. And that's the thing. It's the longevity of it. I mean, and that's the thing. So say one of these kids gets it and then they have that inflammation of the heart, they turn around, they're living with that for the rest of their life. I mean, there's a baseball player that got the COVID, and he's got the same thing going on right now.
There's a football player. I can't think of his name right now, and I hate that I can't think of his name. I saw it on but I think he plays for the Minnesota Vikings. He's got to get open heart surgery and is going to miss the whole season because he had some heart troubles. I think that was diagnosed after he had come down with COVID. The article didn't say whether or not it was COVID that gave him this, but when he got his COVID test or was diagnosed with COVID, they noticed, hey, you have this heart issue too. So like It's totally scary, and it's just that's why you're never going to see like the college football was a pipe dream this year, or at least is a pipe dream this year. You're not gonna especially because you're not dealing with grown men, you're not dealing with grown professional athletes making millions of dollars. You're dealing with children or kids, basically. So it'll never happen.
They're technically grown men and women. They're adults, but the thing is that they have to make that call. And that's the thing. It's a lot of weight on their shoulders to make that call. That's why these presidents of the two, the Pac-12 and the Big Ten came out and basically made the call for everybody and just said, we're postponing it. I mean, you read some of the articles. I've read some of the stuff that's been going on since they made the announcement. And people are saying canceled. It's not canceled. It's postponed. They're postponing it, and they're looking at what they can do to make this game go off in the spring. Because a lot of other people don't realize that, the money part of it is also – NCAA or college football and college basketball, and I hate saying it like that, but it pays for a lot of the other sports that don't
get
the crowds. Volleyball is starting to pick up right now for women's volleyball, and then baseball. I mean, they still have college baseball and everything. The money kind of filters out from that to the other sports to help them still have the finances and stuff like that to do the scholarships and get the equipment and the travel and all that other stuff. So it feeds the other sports.
Yeah, football is the only reason that they have other sports.
Look at the NCAA. Now, that tournament, the NCAA tournament, generates more than $900 million in revenue. Just that tournament alone. About tonight. So that right there is huge. That's huge money. The thing that was really funny about all of this was it must be the mentality of football, and don't take this the wrong way, Hank, because just like in college football, they felt like there was nothing going on. Like, just like the NFL, we're just going to go right through it. I mean, Clemson's Dabo Sweeney mentioned in April that he's like, I have zero doubt that we are not going to be able to play. This is America. This is the greatest country on the planet. We will rise up and kick this in the teeth. September is a long way away, man. Well, guess what? September's not a long way away. And guess what? We didn't kick anything in the teeth or in the ass. We got our asses kicked by this thing and are still getting our ass kicked by this thing. So it's just interesting that if anything associated with football, we're just kind of like, all right, we're good. We don't care. We're just going to keep going. September's going to be a long way away without making any procedures or policies and procedures for this.
But that's why I ultimately think you just see them saying it's either canceled or postponed, because there's nothing they could have done. Like, the reason that we have the NHL, the NBA, the NFL, hopefully at this point, and the MLB is because there's a players union that looks for the well-being of the players. They negotiated with the owners or the commissioners of the leagues, and then we were able to come down with a sort of rules to play these games. That doesn't exist in the NCAA. It's the NCAA just makes these rules. That's how it works.
That's even with the Pac-12. There's no athlete or student representation here. It's just
but you'd never have it. There's too many students. You'd never get like there's a players union in college football would never happen.
I understand that, but there's nobody speaking for the students or the athletes. That's the thing that's missing here. And obviously, I agree with you. There's too many to be able to do that, like a players union or whatnot. But there should be something said. There should be something put in policy, a procedure here for this, because obviously, they weren't thinking. They are thinking about the athletes' feelings, but the athletes have no representation. They have no way of really speaking out. They just go with the flow.
Because like realistically, like I know that it is kind of amateur sports, but like in terms of football, like there are a lot of players in the college game that are basically pro players. Like they are a step away from being pro players. So like I don't know how I am definitely a simpleton when it comes to dealing with that stuff. So I do not know how you would just have player representation in the NCAA, but I mean, until that happens, you're just always going to have the NCAA just being like, okay, these are the rules, and you kind of have to stick to them, or you're just not playing. That's just kind of the world we live in right now.
And some of the players, if they're good enough, they'll, I hate using his name, but Johnny Manziel turns around in his sophomore year and declares eligibility after his sophomore year.
Yeah.
I mean, are you going to have kids that are going to do that? You might have kids that are in their junior year that are going to just sit there and say, you know what? We're just going to declare our eligibility now and see where it goes. But, if everybody does that, then they don't play in the spring. because once you've declared
Right.
it, but that's again where, like everybody's been talking about it. The thing is that if they do push everything to the spring, then the organizations that they are the feeding program for, which is the NFL, then they need to go out and they need to adjust and adapt to what's going on in the pandemic and say, okay, we're going to, instead of having the draft in April or whenever we have it, we're going to have it in the end of May. You know, yeah.
It was July.
Then you got a shorter period of time. I mean, it puts a crunch where they've got to sign. You know, the kids, again, these athletes, college athletes, have to make a decision on the money that they're going to make in the NFL a lot faster than they would where they have the time to be able to sit there and toy around and say what they're going to make and what they're not going to make and have their agents and all that other stuff. So,
Right.
And they might be less inclined to play in the spring if they're ready to go to the NFL. Like the guys that are blue chip NFL athletes may be less inclined to play in the springtime because they're like, well, why am I going to take an entire season off, play in the spring, risk hurting myself and getting out millions of dollars, being a first or second round pick in the NFL? Like if you're a star player in college, you might just decide, well, you know what, I'm just going to go declare for the draft. I'm not playing this season. You know, like that.
We were talking about making it so that they have another year of eligibility, but you know, these guys aren't going to want to. I mean, some of them do redshirt and they do play 5 years. You know, they basically they get almost 5 years of college, but they've only got 4 years of playing time.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I was reading some of the other comments. I do agree with you. And again, let's get back into what are you doing, Hank?
What I do? Hey,
and now you're on 2 units. I said units. Anyway, you know, it does suck because they can't do anything.
All right.
What the hell are you doing?
I don't know. It just did something.
Yeah, now you're on another one. Okay, there we go. All right.
We're back. We got rid of the phone.
Oh Jesus! Now we got.
Hang on.
Get your headphones. If there weren't any technical difficulties, it wouldn't be a podcast. Welcome to today, DW, the sports edition.
Now we're in.
There we go. Awesome. Finally. All right. It just popped on its own. That's too funny. I think right now, have you guys noticed that the NFL? I mean, literally, it's.
Yeah.
They haven't said
much.
They haven't said squat in the last 2 weeks. So hopefully they are re-looking at, you know, the NHL, the NBA, you know, what else? The WNBA, the MLS, NWSL, and the TBT to see what the hell's going on, and look at the MLB and saying, holy crap, look what we got going on here. The NFL can do bubbling. They can do it.
They can't, though.
It's going to be hard, though, because they're going to.
It can take
in this pandemic, they're going to have 53 people on an active roster, and then they're going to have another 27 people that are sitting there, and you're not, and staff members. You know, you got your staff, you got trainers. I mean, you don't walk in. There's not just one trainer. There's a training staff.
Listen, you can take 2 or 3 stadiums and you can do it. Listen, I mean, if you want
the problem you're going to run it. No, because we do. Yeah, no, I remember I was the advocate for this. I will humbly admit. But when you really think about it, like bubbling up the NFL does wind up getting hard just because of the sheer size of teams. Because
it's hard, but it's not impossible.
But it is because okay, so hypothetically speaking, the NHL did it. One's in Edmonton, one's in Toronto. Okay, a limited amount of teams made it, so not everybody made it. This wasn't an entire league went up to Edmonton and Toronto. This is starting an entire NFL season. There's no way you could split the league in half, like because I'm assuming that's what you do. You'd probably do an East and a West because you know how else are you going to split it up? Right. There's no way you could take all of those teams. There's no way you could split the league directly in half and put all of them, like everybody on the East in one city and everybody on the West in one city, because it would just be there's not enough places to lodge all these people. You know, I don't know where you would wind up putting them.
They're going to be in the suites.
Yeah, there's probably not even enough suites for all these people.
And then they got to bring in all the beds.
Yeah.
Listen,
then you do it for a longer period of time. Like this isn't like the NHL's doing it until I think for like maybe 2 or 3 months.
Yeah,
you'd be doing it for the NFL. You'd be doing it from you'd probably be doing it from September to February.
Well, technically, we start almost a month from now.
Yeah, so like September to February. Yeah. That's insane.
Well, either way, I mean, I think, hey, listen, anything is possible. The problem is, I don't think that the NFL has ever even thought about any of these procedures. And now with college football going down, I'm hoping that's opening up some of the NFL's eyes to figure out what the hell's going on. I don't think they could do a full season without doing something. I mean, I know the players want to play, but we had, I think, Hank, was there 43 players now out of the pros have
that have opted out.
Yeah. So, I mean,
we might have football. Like the thing is though, like we might wind up having football scattered throughout the week. You know what I mean? Like you might just wind up having games having to be played on different days because you have to, one, you can't, and this is the NFL, you can't skip games. All the games matter, but like you might just have like them having to move people around just to avoid like crowdings, like big crowdings, like teams being on top of each other. Games might have to get postponed, and it's like, well, we can't play today, but we'll play it on a different day. So like, it's going to be a really weird NFL season, but I think that they can do it. I think they'll be able to figure it out.
This way too. If anybody, the NFL is going to be looking for that Saturday open afternoon slot. I can imagine now because of college football, Saturday afternoons or Saturday nights, that's prime time TV for football. So I'm sure people are already looking at through the NFL to see about adding Saturday football to their lineup. Like you're saying, a couple times during the week, Saturday. So you get your Saturday, Sunday, and Monday football. You get 3 days of football.
Yeah.
You could shorten the season that way.
Yeah, and I mean, like the NFL also is going to have time. Like worst case scenario, like let's say they get through half of the season, like all right, guys, look, we have to push it off for a few weeks. We'll push it off for a few weeks and then pick it up after 2. Like a few teams wind up having an outbreak. It's only it's like they'd have no problem pushing it further into February or maybe even a little bit into March. It's not a giant schedule that they're trying to fit in. It's not like baseball where you had to figure out how to get a competitive advantage out of 162 games and knocking it down to 60. Like the NFL, you can manage a few games.
Yeah, but you got to remember too is you got a lot of stadiums that are outside that aren't covered.
Right.
I mean, your southern states are going to be fine, but your northern states, you got Buffalo, you got East Ruston, you got the Giant Stadium. You got New England. I mean, can you see trying to play in a snowstorm on a Sunday?
That's the way football should be played.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Listen, I agree with you, but you think it's cold now or cold in December, when they're just wrapping everything up. Now they're going to play out 3 of the coldest months.
Come on, the old timers did it, Hank.
The Ice Bowl, man, the Ice Bowl.
Yeah, the Ice Bowl. And if you heard some of the stories and read some of the books on that, they can tell you guys felt like they had no fingers left.
Yeah, well, that's the thing though. It would be either that or you're not playing. And then for a lot of these guys, that sucks because there isn't a lot of guaranteed money in football.
Right.
So ultimately it would wind up being like, well, now I'm just not going to get paid, and this sucks. Right. Let's at least finish this out. It's going to be everybody. Unfortunately, with the NFL, they're going to have to do similar to what baseball did. They're going to have to put out these regulations and say, look, this is how we're going about it. If you don't follow this, you're out. If we catch you going out and hitting up bars and hitting up nightclubs and hitting up parties, going to strip clubs, you're out, bud. I'm sorry, because we're not going to risk spreading this whole COVID disease around. It can't happen. I
was joking with Hank the other day that if Dennis Rodman was still playing, I think he would have opted out.
He would have had his own strip joint in the dome or the bubble.
He quarantined his own 6 hookers for the entire season. And nobody.
He wouldn't be worrying about the barbers like they were talking about the barbers. He'd be worrying about, okay, I got this one, that one, and that one.
Not 2 sweets, not 1. You're just joining us. It is the Tuesday edition of Today with DW, the Sports Edition, with Mr. Tom Greer, Mr. Hank Snacks Pelton. We were just talking about college and NFL football, and it just seems the attitudes seem the same. It just means if you hold a football, COVID doesn't exist until like when it's too late.
Yeah. So, I just don't know. Like it's just like I don't know what more the NFL can do other than just going the same route MLB has and putting out rules as to how you have to police your teams. That's pretty much all they can do.
But the rules aren't really working for baseball. I mean,
well, it's because people don't listen to them. It's because idiots don't listen to them. Like it's like,
you think the football players are going to listen to them?
No, but that's the thing. You're going to have to. But that's the problem is no matter what, you're not like the MLB has to and the NFL has to. All they have to do is somehow manage to get themselves to the playoffs. If you can manage to get yourselves to the playoffs, you can bubble up. MLB's talking about that already, figuring
They're
out a
talking
way.
about having 40 games. They're saying that they want to go back. So if you can't get to the 60, it's like, okay, everybody has to have a certain amount of number of games.
Well, they were going to go. They were going to go off a winning percentage. Yeah, they were going to play it off a winning percentage. But if they can make it to the playoffs, they're going to bubble up. So that's all they have to. That's at this point what they have to manage. People are going to get sick. That's ultimately what you're going to have. That's how you're going to have to play it, because it's either that or you don't play. You know, there's nothing else you're really going to be able to handle.
All right, enough football talk. We'll hear more in about an hour after the show is over. We'll probably hear somebody's listening now on from the NFL, and they're going to release some major statement an hour later. I'm going to have to. If this keeps happening, I'm going to come back to the studio and just chime right up and do it again. It's the Today with DW extended version of what the hell just happened. So since we were talking about the NBA, we have also mentioned the NHL. Now, the NHL has released their COVID testing updates. No new COVID cases since early July, which was training camp phase. 7,245 tests completed this week with 0 positives. What's your take on this, Tom?
I love it. I think it's awesome that, like, because I think hockey players are a different breed of athletes. Like, hockey players, all they care about is playing hockey and winning a Stanley Cup. That's literally all they care about. They don't care about going out. They don't care about, of course they care about making money, but literally all they care about is their teams and winning a Stanley Cup. That's it.
And they're one of the least paid professional athletes too. Right?
Yeah, for the most part. But it's not surprising. It's it's similar. NBA's not having any. It's because it's a small playoff format where they bubbled up. I'm surprised that not one person has come down with COVID, because like I would always assume that like out of the whole league that's there, like at least one person is going to break the rules or do something stupid. But no, it's freaking awesome. The hockey playoffs have been amazing. It's been so much fun.
I'm not a big hockey fan.
It's so much fun.
Hank's got nothing to say on that. Jack Celeste, welcome, Jack. NHL has been great, and it actually feels like playoff hockey.
It does. It's so weird. It's so weird sitting down watching the Islanders in like a pair of shorts and a t-shirt, because it's usually wintertime. But it's been so much fun. Playoff hockey is some of the best television you are ever going to get. There is just constant action end to end the entire time. And I'm really happy that they were able to figure this out. Like, totally.
It's also one of those sports too. Yes, we see the empty stadium or arenas. I never really looked at the crowds until obviously if they were throwing the squids or whatnot. But I don't really miss the fact that there's no crowds there, because the cameras are so close to the players. You very rarely ever see a crowd shot unless they're going to commercial or they're coming back in from a commercial. So obviously that's going to definitely affect the players, because it's got to be as quiet as hell in there. And it's just like training. It's like practicing, I would assume. It's like, okay, we're just doing a training practice without all the arena noise and whatnot. But
that's the thing. But that's the thing with hockey players, is they don't focus on any of that stuff. Like, yeah, you always need the crowd noise, but like when you're pumping in the crowd noise and you have like the stadium sounds going, the players are just literally like focused down on, all right, I am doing my best to let these guys not score, and I'm going to score. That's pretty much all.
Right. Their minds are on. They're focused on the ice.
And I love the presentation, what they've done in Toronto and Edmonton, like the way they've made the arena look, like it straight up looks like it's from like a video game. It looks so cool. I don't know. I've just loved the whole way the NHL has put this thing together has been unbelievably awesome. It was hilarious. I think it was the Dallas Stars game a few weeks ago. They put on the Jumbotron, "We'd like to thank our fans," and then they panned to the crowd, and they had 4 standing fans, just like not cardboard cutouts, like legit like fans, like blowing air fans were sitting there. They just zoomed in on them. It was like, it's so funny. The NHL gets it. Like, they understand.
They definitely do get it. They're definitely doing it the right, and I think they're going to come out on top once all of this is all over. I think we talked about this too. With no sports and then some sports and whatnot, we may get new fans for each sport. May get new fans. You might get bigger viewership for the NHL because they're doing it right. You're going to get the NBA. And like I said, the NFL, who knows what they're going to do? Probably an hour after the show, I'm calling it right now. There's something big.
Probably, you're not wrong.
Or the ACC made an announcement that they're postponing their season as well.
Did they, or are they?
No, I bet you that's going to be next.
That'll be next.
I'm going to say it right now. The SEC will be the last one of all the 5 to do it last.
I think the SEC is going to try and play. I think they're going to try.
They're going to. And Nebraska, and it's going to be interesting because Nebraska's been making a big stink about the whole thing after the Pac-12 made their announcement, and I think it's Frost that's down there that's the coach, and he's not happy with it. So I got a feeling you're going to see they might go and play in a different conference or something, or play in one of the SEC or something if they play.
Yeah. But since with no sports, I've been gravitating to everything. Like, this is going to help hockey. It's going to help basketball. Hell, I'm even trying to get into soccer. I've hopped on the bandwagon of Chelsea in the English Premier League.
Yes.
That's what I'm doing right now.
We get the soccer kids they come in the chase when they come in and I go, what are you here for? They go, soccer. I go, this is a sports facility. And then they look at you and they're like, they don't know what to say to you. I'm like, yeah, we play sports here.
Yeah,
I know. They go, oh, you're just a big football player.
I'm sure I know what they're thinking in their head. That guy's an.
Oh yeah, I can imagine what they're thinking. That's why I got the glass there now.
Yeah, right. I did joke in the show notes or in the post that we would not talk baseball, but I cannot have Tom not go a whole episode without talking some baseball.
It's summertime,
and I know what we're going to talk about.
It's baseball season.
We're going to talk about
the
this.
Angels were in town. The way he looked.
My goodness. Mariano gets hit again. That's the second time. Now he's pointing at Castellanos. It looked like a breaking ball.
Yeah.
So everybody kind of standing around.
Wait for it.
God, those uniforms are beautiful.
Wait for it, everyone. If you're listening to the audio version of this,
you can see Laureano just kind of talking about, it looks like I can feel him releasing the ball in a fashion. Now
look out, folks. This is not a good idea. This is not a good idea. Laureano sprinted toward the dugout, and this is not. This is exactly what Major League Baseball said you absolutely cannot do.
So there you have it. Tom,
Laureano,
this has got to be one of the biggest bench clears I've seen in a while.
Sprinting right at the dugout.
I mean, maybe not the biggest I've seen in a while, because I have seen some big ones, especially since the rules against the bench clearing brawls are in effect right now. But it's crazy. I think the only suspension that I saw was the Astros hitting coach. He got like 20 games, I believe, for that.
Yeah, and then the kid got 6. But the pitcher didn't get anything. Was it the same pitcher that hit him 3 times, or was it different pitchers?
I think that one was I think it was a different pitcher.
In the same game, he got hit by 3 pitches, they said?
Yeah.
Or over the series?
I think it might have been over the series. I don't think it was in the one game.
The kid's just a ball magnet.
Yeah, clearly. But it's like you're not really hurting the Astros when that happens, because like you're just suspending their hitting coach for 20 games. What does that mean? Like, who cares that their hitting coach is getting suspended for 20 games? Like that is.
And they tell you that if the fans were in the stands and they said something about your mama, you're not supposed to go and say anything to them. But then you got the hitting coach from another team talking about your mother. You're gonna get mad.
Absolutely. And it was, rightfully so. The guy gets suspended, but I mean, like, you're not really damaging the team. Like the team couldn't hit at all this season anyway. So like, if anything, you did him a favor sending him home.
Right. And the thing is that all the other baseball teams that have played the Astros or over the last year and two, they're sitting there with this whole scandal thing that happened last year where they just didn't feel like the Astros were punished enough.
Yeah.
For their actions. So, and then you've got other teams that are, throwing pitches at them. So it's you got to stop it somewhere, I guess. But you're not gonna. It's part of the game. Every sport's the same way. You get mad at somebody and you just it takes them out of the game. I used to get guys mad at me all the time, and I'd laugh because I go back in the huddle and I go, he's not even focused right now. He's so mad at me because I just said something about his girlfriend.
And didn't you, Tom, just say that baseball, they were following the rules? That's not following the rules.
No, that is not. No, that is absolutely not. You're not allowed to do benches clearing balls this season. that's why the hitting coach got suspended 20 games. That's why that kid Moliariano got suspended. What you said 6, right, Hank? It was like
6. He got 6 games, yeah.
Which is a lot. You know, I
50-game season.
It's 1/10 of your season if they get to the 60.
Yeah, if they make it to the 60, but it's you couldn't do anything to like. I feel like if anything happens with the Astros, they should inherently have to face a harsher penalty than the rest of the league because like they got no punishment for cheating baseball in 2017, like 0 punishment. The reason all of this is happening is because people are retaliating against a team that cheated the entire league. So like, you can't just like, why can't you just like punish, like actually go at the Astros? Like how, you remember how OJ didn't go to jail for, he got acquitted of murder, but they threw the book at him when he was trying to steal his memorabilia back.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why can't they do the Astros the same way? Like, yeah, okay, they didn't get in trouble for cheating the game, but you got caught, your team got caught inciting a brawl. So now we have to put you under sanctions or something. I don't know, like give them a harsh penalty or something like that. Do something.
I think they had counsel by Belichick.
Yeah.
I think that's why they're safe.
Yeah.
When we return, guys, El Snacko will make an appearance. We'll be talking about a player masturbation. Yes, I said masturbation on the sports show.
No.
And today in sports history with Mr. Greer, and we'll be right back.
We all want to win championships. We all want to be the best. We all want it to be our time. But the difference between imagining the future and being the future is what you do to get there. Only you can make you better.
Nice.
Welcome as El Snacko has joined us. Snacks must have had to take a quick break. So this is, when you hear this music, you know El Snacko's in the house. El Snacko called me the other day and he's like, hey, I want to do my top 5. It's summertime. I want to do my top 5 barbecue foods that I enjoy. So take it away, El Snacko. Hopefully some of you will enjoy the same 5 foods. I don't know. We'll see. Take it away.
Well, I have to say, my number 5 for the best the things that I like to eat and snack on. I like the pork and beef ribs at number 5.
Okay.
Here we go.
Now, do you saute them? Do you marinate them? I should say marinate them.
No, you just slow cook them.
Okay.
You got to slow cook them on the grill. That way they just break it right apart. Clams.
Okay. On the grill?
Yeah, you never cook clams on the grill?
It's not in a shell, so no.
It's not. That's
not
wrong.
everybody.
It's not. Here we go with the snot again.
It's not. It's not.
It's not snot.
Number 3.
Then sausage.
Oh, a slurry food, sausage. I know somebody listening loves sausage.
Yeah. Yeah, she won't like that.
No.
And then, of course, the chicken.
Okay. Breasts, chicken breasts, or wing?
Chicken.
Are you going to do wings? Or are you talking about chicken?
I can do a whole chicken. I like
Whole
the skin
chicken.
on it.
I bet
I
you
like
can.
the chicken with the chicken with the skin on it.
I bet you can.
That's the best. When you get a nice crispy skin, that's the best.
Delicious.
Then, of course, the all-time favorite. It's got to be steak.
Okay. Are we talking fillets or are we talking?
Oh, I'm talking like T-bones or New York strip, ribeyes. Yes.
Okay.
You got to you got to marinate them the right way or season them the right way. If you don't, and of course, everybody that knows me, medium rare.
Okay. Yeah. I got to have medium rare too. Medium rare.
Exactly.
And of course, if you're going to marinate anything, I didn't have my board set up for this, but if you're going to marinate or use any sauce, you should use Jay's Wicked on all your steaks and sausages and everything you use.
Yes.
Jay'sWicked.com. Check out all their great sauces, and they also have a butt rub. Yes, I did. I said butt rub.
A butt rub.
The butt is awesome. And check out all their sauces in that checkout. Use promo code WINGINGIT to get 10% off your entire purchase. Now, what is cool about this code is not just one time. So if you order 3 or 4 bottles and you're like, oh, crap, I need something else, you can go back. You use that code one time, 100 times. It never ends. You just keep ordering. Just keep ordering and keep ordering. So again, that's jayswicked.com. Use promo code WINGINGIT at checkout to receive 10% off your entire purchase. And that was El Snacko's. I love this music. El Snacko's top 5. We don't know what he'll have next week, but we'll figure out something. Thanks, El Snacko. Oh my God. I'm sorry. I'm just cracking up because of the music, and I just
great music. That is a fantastic score for El Snacko.
I don't have my sombrero today.
No, you do not have your own sombrero today. But anyway, so we might as well just lead this right up with masturbation. Yes.
There we go.
Yes. Tom, take it away on what we heard about. And this is sports related now, everyone.
This is sports related. Well, Reese McGuire was arrested back in February for public masturbation. Now, he's straight up like, where did I don't like. My problem with all of this is like how can you be somebody that is on the precipice of being a Major League Baseball player? You are about to be at the pinnacle of your sport, something you've been dreaming about your entire life. Like, how do you not have the wherewithal to wait till you get home? Like, why do you just have to whip it out in the car? I believe, what is it? Was it outside of a who allegedly masturbated in a car outside a strip mall in Florida near the team's spring training complex? Like, he just assumed nobody was around and nobody was going to see him, so he just decided, you know what, I'm just going to whip it out and take care of myself in this parking lot. Why though? So now, how does this tie into right now, you're asking probably? Well, they played over the weekend, I believe it was. They played the Atlanta Braves down in Atlanta, and the Braves had a little fun with it. And I believe it was after he hit a home run, as he was circling the bases or while he was on the field. They played "Beat It" by Michael Jackson as he was circling the bases. And I can't, like, I thought that was the funniest thing in the world, but I just hate it when teams I hate do something funny. Like, I'm a Mets fan. They're in the NL East. I detest the Braves. The Braves.
Didn't they play a football game last night?
Wait, what?
The Mets. Didn't they play a football game last night?
They got the crap kicked out of them
last night. They only got a safety.
Yeah. I did, but no, that's the break. I saw this in my office and was trying to not be too loud, pissing my pants laughing, and just trying to think of other songs that I would have followed it up with. Like, I would have followed it up with maybe like The Stroke or something like that. That's where I got stuck with. It is so unbelievably funny that they decided to play "Beat It" by Michael Jackson as this dude got caught masturbating in public. You dope. You deserved every bit of it.
I'm actually shocked that you knew what the song "Stroke" it.
Yeah.
You can't touch this.
I'm having fun.
Okay, he wasn't making millions of dollars. He's under contract this season for $569,000. Yeah, $569,000. That's what he's making this year.
He definitely can afford a hooker.
He definitely could. Definitely could afford a hooker, and definitely could afford a nice house to live in, so you can lock yourself in your room and take care of your business. Yeah.
And it was in Atlanta. And listen, I mean, come on, he pulling a straight Pee Wee Herman. Look at what that did for his career. So you never know. Maybe this is good. maybe this.
That's what I was listening. Somebody on sports radio in New York when I was listening on my way home yesterday said that they should have played the Pee Wee's Playhouse intro, because like everybody would have got it. Pee Wee did it. You guys could be best friends. You guys could talk about how you decided to touch yourself in public. Couldn't wait till you got home, you freaks.
Now, in New York State, it's legal to have sex in your car. So if he was in New York and kept the door closed,
I didn't know that, actually.
Yes, it is.
Where do you guys find this stuff?
It's your private property.
The New York Post. The New York Post, a reputable publication. The New York Post.
And also, do you know that a person peeping into your car can be arrested as a peeping Tom while you're having sex in your car?
That seems that's entrapment. Like, how do you do that? Like, it's got windows,
but so's your house.
Yeah, and guess what? If you leave your blinds open and you did it in your living room and somebody could see right through your house, that's your fault. That's your fault.
That's entrapment. Like,
that's your fault. Okay. Time out. If you have full view of your living room from the street, okay?
Yeah.
And I'm talking like house and car is no different. And somebody sees through your front windows, that's not the person walking down the street's fault. That's your fault. So if you decide to have sex in your car and you did it in front of your house on the side of the road and somebody's walking by and they just looked in the window, That's not their fault. That's your fault.
Well, first off, just walking by and looking in the window is not a peeping Tom. It's the guy that's standing there whipping it out.
Oh yeah, that's a problem.
Watching.
You shouldn't do that. Yeah, you
There's
definitely
a
shouldn't
time
do that.
frame.
Fact, you shouldn't do that.
I purposely left my windows open so I wanted to catch a peeping Tom this year. And that's what the hell? What do you? Oh, you know what that is? Yeah, the more you know. Look at that. We had to squeeze in the more you know with that today.
I did not know that. That is so funny.
Now, Tom, has the players had any public statements about since his?
Let's hold on. They have like in this article that I have. They have a little thing that he said.
I wonder if he would. What do you say to that?
He said during the arrest, McGuire told police he had been checking to make sure no one was looking, but he realized what a dumb place to be. You think? So he looked around. Was like, nobody's around. Okay, this is all right to do this here, dude. You're in public. You're a public figure. You're a Major League Baseball player. Go home.
Maybe he's a sex addict. That's a thing.
Get counseling then. Get counseling then. Don't go jerking it in a parking lot. Like, that's not cool, man. Nobody needs to see that. You're lucky you're not a sex offender. You're lucky a kid didn't see you.
Oh my God. If that was the case, forget about it.
You wouldn't be playing baseball anymore. You'd be knocking on doors saying, hello, I'm sorry. I touched myself in a parking lot. Now I live next door to you. You know?
And by the way, my blinds are closed, so don't try peeping.
Exactly. Yeah. Don't worry. I looked around. I didn't think anybody was around. I didn't see your kid there. You freaking idiot.
I'm glad I live on the second floor. My blinds are always closed anyway.
There we go.
The only person in the window is usually the cat. He's my lookout. Before we get into today's sports history, I'm gonna go back to a little bit about the beginning of the show. Not so much NFL, but again about the XFL. Going back and saying that they want to try to do a spring season. Now it can be done. I'm assuming it can. It's going to take a lot of money. It's going to take a lot of planning and them hustling really quick. Obviously, they now see what's going around in the sports world, so they're going to be. They've already stated that they've already had a bubble procedure put in place for these guys pre-COVID. And that was coming from The Rock's ex-wife, who was also a part owner and also his business manager, said they had already put that in place before COVID was around. So they are prepared, obviously, if COVID's still here. My question to you guys is, if the NFL does go, but pushes back into November, like we discussed before, going into November or going into December, or the other sports starting to come around, like college sports, whatnot, going into the spring, how saturated would the sports market be for the fact of don't even bother putting the XFL out? Tom?
Well, I mean, it's going to be insane because it's going to be so many sports packed into a few months. Like, especially if the NFL winds up having to push some of their season back, you're going to wind up having the NFL playing on top of the NBA, the NHL, college football, baseball. Like, all the sports will be playing around the same time, which would be absolutely wild.
But like we were talking before, Herb, last week, was that you're going to have college football, NFL, and the XFL. Now, the XFL plays some of their teams play games at the college stadiums and at the professional NFL stadiums.
Yeah.
So now it's like, unless you have, like you said, have a game on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday night's XFL, Saturday night is college, and then Sunday is your NFL. You're going to have a lot of crossover.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be real interesting to see how they handle it, because it's not like if the XFL has, because the XFL might wind up having to forcefully compete with the NFL without any intentions of doing that, because it's just how the season's going to shake out. It might kill it again. I don't know, but I mean, it's going to be interesting to see, because I know the XFL, the New York Guardians share a stadium with the Jets and the Giants.
Right. Yep.
Right. How are they going to play?
Right. And at the same time, are we going to have no fans? We know New York State said no fans for professional sports. Even
and what's the economy going to look like? I mean, that's the other thing. What's the economy going to look like? Because if you don't have businesses that can advertise, I mean, yeah, you got the major corporations and everything else, but that's revenue that comes in. If they're not getting that either, that's more revenue.
That brings up my other question is, okay, who's going to fight for TV rights? Now, we know TV rights are a huge moneymaker. They're big money in that. So are they going to be Are they going to be making deals with the XFL or over the NFL or vice versa? I mean, that's another thing. Who's going to get the rights to be?
They're not going to make a deal over the NFL for the XFL, and they're not going to make a college deal over the college, or they're not going to make a deal over the college over the XFL. The XFL over either one of those two.
Yeah.
The money that comes in are going to be for those.
What I'm saying is, it won't be on Fox. It won't be on your major channel that would usually carry the XFL. Another network might pick them up and give them the money that they need, or
it's gonna be on TNT.
Probably. Yeah, it'll be something. It'll be on some network that isn't one of the major ones. Probably. I'm interested to see how it works. I mean, I guess they're just gonna have to bank on the NFL not having to delay their season or stop their season and start it up again. Like if they wind up having to play against the NFL in the springtime, they're screwed. They are in trouble because nobody will watch, because everybody will watch the NFL instead.
And The Rock's going to be smart about it. He's going to, like you said, he's going to go out and he's going to find a TV station that will pay him the money that he's looking for to get on there. I mean, you never know. You could have. I mean, you got to think of where WWE's been. Sci-Fi, USA, TNT has some of the other stuff. So those 3 channels right there. Those alone are gonna probably put in the ring.
What about the USA Network? That's what carried wrestling for years. So
right. Well, that's what I'm saying.
Right there, put the XFL on USA if that's what It's America's sport, football. Why not on the USA Network? So it'll see what I hope they. I mean, I want to see that. I'm more excited to see that than I am the regular NFL, just to see what they're going to bring to the game, what the Rock's going to do, new things, new teams. I'm more excited to see that, but I don't want them to rush it. I mean, you just spent $15 million on this. Why rushing it for the spring? Wait until fall, or do a summer league, or do something after the other sports start to die out. I think they're really going to have to look at the other sports. I think they're really planning. They already got a plan set up. So I'm sure they're sitting and waiting to see what happens. I'm sure this college thing is definitely going to affect them more than I think the college is going to affect them more than the NFL season. I think
probably, yeah.
I think they're going to start it. They're going to go after the NFL season, and if college goes and does the spring team or playing in the spring, then they're going to wind up going. They're going to wait until after those 2 are over with before they go and do it.
Go out. What's a good time for them to play then? I mean,
I think they're going to probably go like mid-May, June, July, and August. They'll do a summer. I think it'll go over the summer.
So they'll end right when football starts, pretty much.
Correct. Yeah. That would be the smart thing, because there's nothing else to compete with.
Yeah.
Right. NASCAR.
Except for baseball. Yeah. And baseball.
Well, the thing is, like, hockey and basketball are probably going to run into the summertime too anyway, because they're probably not going to start their seasons again until like Christmas time.
Oh, that's true. That's true. If they start their season.
Well, that's ultimately, I think. I mean, like, they are going to try and still start a season. Like, they're not going to cancel a season next year. Like, I think, but I believe that's the plan. Is they're going to delay the start late, because they obviously are finishing out these playoffs right now. So you're going to have a lot of sport. Like, we're going to have another year of a crazy amount of sports in the springtime and the summertime. Like, that's going to be a thing again. It's going to be so much fun. I'm very excited.
I'm excited too. I'm excited. So that brings us into today in sports history.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for Today in Sports History. Give it up for Mr. Tom Greer.
Take it away, Mr. Tom.
Okay, so I got some stuff. I tried to only pull a couple of baseball things today. I believe I got two. I got one baseball thing today, so you guys can be proud of me. Starting off 1919 today. Hank, you should enjoy today. The Green Bay Packers were founded. The Green Bay Packers Football Club, founded by George Calhoun and Curly Lambeau, named after the sponsor, Indiana Packing Company. It's the third oldest NFL franchise and is the only nonprofit, community-owned Major League professional sport team based in the United States. You know what that means? That means the Green Bay Packers are the sports version of communism. So,
what?
Sorry, I read that. I knew that because there is no owner for the Green Bay Packers. Everybody in Green Bay, Wisconsin, freaking owns the Packers. The Packers have won 13 championships, the most in NFL history, 9 pre-Super Bowl championships, 4 Super Bowl victories. The Packers Packers won the first 2 Super Bowls in 1967 and 1968. So yeah, the Green Bay Packers, they were founded today in 1919. 10 years later, Babe Ruth becomes the first baseball player to hit 500 home runs off of Willis Hudlin. I definitely can't say that name right. Of the Cleveland Indians. He, of course, hit 714 to become the home run king until Hank Aaron beat him with 755. And Barry Bonds juiced his way to 762. Now, I want to play a little game. Back in 2019, the bat that the Babe hit that home run with sold at auction to an anonymous bidder. Do any of you have an idea on how much it got sold for? We can play Price is Right rules. Closest without going over. You had to guess. Babe Ruth's baseball bat. 500 home run.
I'm going to say 90 million.
90 million?
90 million?
That's a lot of money.
I don't know.
I'm going to say 2.5 mil.
2.5. Well, unfortunately, if this was Price is Right rules, you both would lose because it was $1,800,000. Is how much somebody spent for an old bat. Yes. Babe Ruth hit his 500th home run with that bat, and it went for over $1 million.
I should have bet $1. I should have bet $1.
You should have bet $1. You would have won. 1984, Carl Lewis duplicates Jesse Owens' 1936 feat, winning his fourth Olympic gold medal as part of the U.S. 4x100 meter relay team. They set the world record. This was pretty cool because Carl Lewis would, like, I guess if there was no Jesse Owens, there would be no Carl Lewis. Yep. And he went into it kind of basically saying, I am going to do what Jesse Owens did in this Olympics. And he kind of caught a little bit of flack because he did the long jump. And usually you would use up all of your turns in the long jump, but he set the record, beat it, and basically kind of coasted his way through the rest of it, which people kind of didn't necessarily like. But he was like, "Look, I'm not going to hurt myself. I'm out for a record. I'm out to tie Jesse Owens."
They were actually talking about him earlier on some of the broadcasts, and they were talking about how he is the GOAT of Olympic.
No, he probably is. I mean, like I can't imagine anybody. I mean, the only other person that you really could bring up is Michael Phelps, just because of how many gold medals he won.
On top of the fact he still had the 200 and the 4x1 to run, so I could see you finished. You got your world record. Why waste it on two of the 200 and the 4x1 and the 4x4s are some of the most watched events in track. If it's not for the mile run, I forgot the long distance version. I did track for years, so Carl Lewis was a huge idol of mine, and I did the 4x1, the 100, and the 2, and just seeing him watching that live was amazing. So I could see why he just kind of opted out and be like, all right, I got to save my energy. The 4x1's coming up in the Open 200, which I don't know if he set records for either of those that year, but I think he won one. I think he won them.
I don't understand why anybody would give him flack for that. Cause like, if you do that, you set a record in like a long jump or something like that. And you're like, all right, I'm good. Like if you're that confident in you being good that you're going to win it, why would he have to go risk hurting himself by going out and doing some other attempts that won't matter?
Right. I wouldn't risk myself for track.
That's fair.
I don't like the run.
That's nice, Hank. Really?
I didn't like the running part.
I got 3 more for us. Back in 2008, the U.S. 4x100 meter freestyle relay team of Michael Phelps, Garrett Weber, Gale, Cullen Jones, and Jason Lezak beat France by 8 seconds to win gold and smash the world record at the Beijing Olympics. I think that record wound up being 3 minutes and 8 seconds. Like the initial world record was 3 minutes and 12 seconds. They did in 3 minutes and 8 seconds, which is pretty amazing. And I just feel like in swimming, like there was a solid 4 or 5 years where we were just setting world records regularly. Yeah. Like literally every single time a new swimming thing happens, somebody in the US just decides I'm breaking that record.
Well, look at Phelps broke so many records.
Oh yeah, he got what has he got? Like 9 gold medals or something like that.
He's got to be an Olympic GOAT at this point.
Oh, absolutely. He's on an Olympic Mount Rushmore. Last 2 is Usain Bolt of Jamaica. Record best time of the year, 9.77 seconds to edge out American Justin Gatlin and win the 100 meter at the World Athletic Championships in Moscow, Russia. And the last one, 2016, American super swimmer Michael Phelps wins the men's 200-meter individual medley in 1 minute 54.66 seconds at Rio de Janeiro Olympics. Third athlete and first swimmer to win 4 consecutive Olympic gold medals in one event.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That is in sports history.
He is.
Dude's a fish. Dude is a fish.
No kidding. A pot smoking fish.
A pot smoking fish.
That's today in sports history with Mr. Tom Greer, brought to you by Adventure Family Fun Center in Queensbury, New York. They're family run and owned, so they know the importance of family fun. With indoor, outdoor go-karts, laser tag, paintball, arcade games, and more, Adventure Family Fun Center is the place to be. They also know how important the current situation is, and they're meeting all the procedures and rules for COVID-19 to make sure that your family is safe. Now, they are open pretty much every day now. They're open Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. Still, only outdoor go-karts are still open. I know that they're still working on the insides and inside and whatnot, but we still have to wait for the governor himself to release the Kraken, release everything so that they can open up. But we have a special promo for you guys. If you live in the upstate New York area and you want to go over and see them, when you go up to the counter for the outdoor go-karts, mention code DWSE. Sorry, DWSE, and receive 6 tickets for $35. Now that's $10 off the regular price, and that's awesome. Bring your family, bring your friends, get grouped together. They'll let you all group in. I've seen it. They'll let you all group in, and let you do the go-karts, the race, I should say. And it's 5 minutes, but again, as I've said on every episode, it's a long 5 minutes. Trust me, it's fun. It's fun. I mean, when you do 2 back-to-back races, you're hurting. It's a little sore.
Well, I bet.
It's fun though. It's fun. But again, it's code DWSE, and that receives 6 tickets for $35 for $10 off the regular price. And if you need any more information or need to contact them, go over to venturefamilyfun.com. Also brought to you today by Body Armor. This is our major sponsor for our show, as you can see in Tom Greer's screen back there that did not fall down, as I am drinking, and so is Snacks. El Snacko is drinking. DrinkBodyArmor.com. Visit their website to find your nearest location. Why am I so tongue-tied at the end of the show? So your nearest, I must be nervous for some reason. To find your nearest location. I know Walmart's. I know Hannaford's carry a huge selection of them. And we were going to start probably next week. We're going to go a little bit longer. Like we talked about, we're not going to do 2 shows. We're going to go an hour and a half, and we're going to start probably a half hour earlier, if that's okay with Mr. Greer, because we know he has to go Twitch right when he gets done. We don't want to interfere with the Twitch stream. Actually. You're twitching right now.
I'm not twitching right now. I'm setting up a stream right now.
We got to get Tom up here for the food truck corral now that we're having that again.
No, we got to seriously talk about that too. Yeah, seriously, Tom. We'll have to figure out a time to get that in there so you can come in.
Yeah.
Make a weekend of it. Bring you in on a Friday, Saturday, and go home Sunday kind of thing. We'll take care of your lodging and whatnot.
Oh, I'm absolutely up for any food truck in upstate. Hell yes.
And we can go hiking. I'll take you to some of the hiking spots I go to.
With it. Totally with it.
That's risky. You can get hurt hiking.
I'll be fine. I'm a big boy. I can handle myself.
El Snacko, you're the come on, you wrestle. Come on, El Snacko, you got your mask on. What do you mean get hurt? But anyway, we're gonna like I said, next week we're gonna go 6:30 to 7:30. I'm sorry, 6:30 to no. Is that what we're doing? 6:30? No.
6:30 to 8. Yeah, your math's way off.
My math is way off tonight. I'm must be tired. 6:30
to 8. I'm the one that takes the headshot.
yeah, right. 6:30 to 8, and we're gonna start doing some Body Armor contests. So for swags, t-shirts, hats, whatnot. And then we're still talking with them about getting product out so we can start giving you guys some product. So
yeah.
I still have the cooler in my car that I got to bring into the new studio. So I know we'll go from there. But anyway, everybody, thank you so much for joining us on this The More You Know episode. We found that people still masturbate in the streets, and somebody smelled something that was cooking, and that's how he got caught. So, anyway, everybody, thank you so much. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, El Snacko.
So long, everybody.
Oh, and I ruined it right there. And I really was going to just end as I started the show.
What the Rock is cooking.
This has been an Earplug Podcast presentation. found on earplugpodcast.com, iTunes, SoundCloud, and wherever your favorite podcasts are found.